Hello, welcome. In this lecture, we'll be talking about the three very important Buddhist scholars, that is Nagarjuna, Dharmakirti, and Vasubandhu. You see, all of these three are undisputedly the most famous amongst Buddhism, right? Why is it so? What is their contribution? What are their works? And what is their philosophy? These are the three things that we're going to understand pertaining to these three important scholars. So, this is it. This is what we're going to start with. Let's firstly take the scholar, that is Vasubandhu. Sorry, Nagarjuna. Naga Arjuna. Okay, the basics, right? Nagarjuna is undisputedly, an Indian, a very important Indian Mahayana. What? Mahayana Buddhist philosopher. If you get a question in the exam, this is how you will get it. The question here will be Hinayana Buddhist philosopher or Mahayana. So you must be absolutely certain that he's a Mahayana Buddhist philosopher. You see, he was a monk who basically belonged to the monk who belonged to the Madhyamika school. He belonged to the Madhyamika school. What is the Madhyamika school called in English? It is called the centrism. Centrism. Madhyamika. This basically means the middle way. The middle way school. Either way, the question comes in the exam, just remember that this is what it stands for. Now, he is widely considered one of the most important Buddhist philosophers, like I told you. He is basically regarded as one of the greatest thinkers in the history of even Asian philosophy. One of the greatest thinkers in the history of Asian philosophy. Is this clear? Now, Nagarjuna is widely considered to be the founder of the Madhyamika school of Indian Buddhism philosophy, right? And also, he's regarded to be naturally a defender of Mahayana movement. All right. Now, what is his very important work that we need to remember from the exam's point of view? It is Mula Madhyamika Karika. Okay, it is Mula Madhyamika Karika. This is basically root verses on Madhyamika. It is one of the most important texts of the Madhyamika school or philosophy, which is specially dealing with what concept? It is dealing with the concept of emptiness. Is this bit clear? It is dealing with the concept of emptiness, right? You have to remember this is very important from the exam's point of view. Now, if this is dealing with a large number of commentaries. You can find this in the language Sanskrit, you can find it in the language Chinese, Tibetan, Korean, Japanese, and you can understand from that itself that what is the significance, the influence of his work, especially in the Buddhist tradition. Is this bit clear? Now let's get into the details. You see, we are not going to be very concerned about the life of Nagarjuna, okay? Because there are various interpretations pertaining to the same. Some say that he basically belonged to first to third century CE, or he belonged to multiple places. The earliest surviving accounts were written in Chinese and Tibetan centuries after his death are basically mostly unverifiable. So there is not much that we have to get into that territory about the life and aspect of him. But what's very important is that we understand the work. You see, there exists a number of influential texts that have been attributed to Nagarjuna. However, they are pseudographic in nature. Basically, they have just been attributed to him. We're not sure whether he's the actual author of them. So there are a number of such texts, but the most important one, like I told you, is what? It is Mula Madhyamika Karika. It is Mula Madhyamika Karika. Let's talk a little bit about this. You see, Mula Madhyamika Karika is Nagarjuna's best work. It is not only a grand commentary, so it's dealing with a grand commentary on what? On Buddha's discourses. On Buddha's discourse to Kachayana, or Kachayana, however you like to say it, okay? the only discourse which is basically cited by name, but it is also dealing with a detailed and a careful analysis. An analysis which is detailed and carefully done of the most important discourses included in the Nikayas and the Agamas, especially those which are mentioned in the Sutta Nipata. Is this bit clear? Now, in the Mulamadhyamakakarika, the basic context that you need to remember is the concept of shunya. Now, what is the concept of shunya? It's nothing but the same term that we discussed in the language English while we were talking about his important work. It is the concept of emptiness. What is shunya? The concept of emptiness. You see, in the Mula Madhyamika Karika, all experienced phenomena are said to be empty. That is shunya. This basically, in simple language, what does this mean? This basically did not mean that they are not experienced, okay? And therefore they are not experienced, so you can deduce they do not exist. This is not what it is saying. Only that they are basically devoid. They are devoid of permanence and they are devoid of eternal substance, that is swabhava. Okay, what does this mean? What am I trying to explain through this? Let me explain this to you with a better